Taurus, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot and welcome to your reading for the month of July. Now, because we're about a little over a week into July, rest assured this reading will last about a month. So we're talking about going into a little bit into August. Really important month, guys. We're going to get a lot of triggers in our lives, including all of these retrograde planets. And one of the things that sticks out for you specifically, Taurus, is this Chiron going retrograde in your 12th house. So this can be somewhat of a painful transit, and these cards aren't exactly, the story I was hoping to display for you guys, but it is an inward journey that holds a lot of productivity in your life. Now, when we talk about 12th house transits and we talk about Chiron, which you've been hosting there for a little while now, it makes this square to the Cancer new moon that we just experienced, and most likely surfaces some pretty deep pains. Some wounds that probably haven't healed for us, talks about some of the fears that we still carry within us. And because it's 12th house, we tend to avoid it or not see it very clearly. And sometimes in a 12th house transit, we don't see other people in our life very clearly. So what I like about this month for you, Taurus, is that you're coming out as the King of Swords. And in the center of the reading, I'll put the cards up in a second. In the center of the reading, we also got a King of Swords. So this is a double confirmation that the universe really needs you to be in the King of Swords mode. Now, because you're experiencing this square with Saturn in Aquarius, there's a lot that might be making you dig your heels in your life. If you're in relationships, you probably want a commitment. There's probably some old habits that are coming to play. And the idea of being able to detach from what you need things to look like or how you need it to be or other people's expectations is super powerful this month. The thing that I love about a King of Swords is he never questions what's best for him. He is a card of action, so there's definitely action or an opportunity to make choices and decisions this month, which is what I'm saying about July being so profound, because the things that we're doing to ascend in our journey in July really sets the tone for what the next year or two are going to look like. And as I've been saying, it's not just a year or two. There's probably a year or two of major changes that are going to occur. But the stuff that we start now as a result of the decisions we make in July really holds a lot of meaning for like the next 20 years of our lives. So Spirit wants you to detach from all things that are unnecessary or unhealthy and to see the greater picture. And that means really not grasping or holding on to things. Now, here in your environment, we have the card of Judgment. This always comes up, and it's a very, very good energy with King of Swords, which is the Libra energy of the spiritual ascension and growth. And what it means is there's an opportunity here. And I think the opportunity is to choose yourself and to see your life a little bit clearer with more clarity. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put these cards up here for you guys to follow around and see. And let's just focus on this top three cards here. The Ace of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. This is that Chiron wounding. See, I think this Ace of Pentacles represents some kind of an offer or a commitment. Probably for some of you, it could be a work commitment. For others, it's probably a relationship of some sort. And it's definitely wanting to make something solid promises. And when I see it next to the Six of Pentacles, there's a promise of like the equal give and take and the reciprocity. Everybody feels the same and everybody's willing to do the work and bring the same amount of quality to the table. But I don't like that it's next to the Seven of Swords, and it tells me that somebody probably isn't being so honest. Now, when we talk about Pentacles, we talk about foundations. And sometimes, not all of the time, sometimes when I see the Six of Pentacles, there is an energy here of giving to two different situations. So it's kind of like a third party scenario to me, more so in what are you wanting to plant the seeds more? You know, for some of you, you might be getting into or signing contracts with something that you maybe don't see the bigger picture on. Maybe there's something that you're not quite understanding as far as job contracts or commitments. You might not have the full picture of who this person is. Now, right underneath this Ace of Pentacles is this Knight of Wands, and that is kind of what concerns me here, because there's an energy, and I don't think this Knight of Wands is you. There's an energy, and when I see it here with the Seven of Swords, of somebody that may be taking advantage of you. Okay? They may be making some promises to you, and there might be a element of making the promise to two different people. If you're starting a relationship with somebody, trying to form a commitment of some kind, and they express that they want that commitment as well. Some of you, and I hate to say it because I don't want anybody to jump to conclusions, and you probably, if this is your scenario, already suspect it. But they might be giving to somebody else as well. Now, I don't see juggling, and I don't see, I mean, other than the Seven of Swords, yes, that could be going behind somebody's back or lying or self-sabotage. But the thing that I always get with that Seven of Swords is that we're the self-sabotage, right? And that's what I mean about that intuition. If this is a scenario that's already going down in your life, you probably already suspect it. Now, 12th house transits means you won't have the facts, okay? But underneath the Judgment card, we have the card of Gemini, I think. Your environment is providing the facts, okay? You're going to see these things clearly and how they're unfolding. And what you don't want to do, because we've got this Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, and the Moon card. And what you don't want to do is avoid the situation, avoid the conversations, avoid asking the questions, okay? If you're making a commitment or planning the future or laying some kind of foundations in an aspect of your life, you have to be able to ask the questions and be honest. Now, there's a lot of ego that's at play with this Knight of Wands. And he kind of operates out of this primal egoic place, like the super protective place. So for some of us, it could be like really trying to play it cool. Like you don't want to ask somebody what they're doing or where they were because you don't want to come off as like needy or anything like that. And the King of Swords can carry that energy of detachment or just avoidance of the situation. But the facts are going to come out, and your environment is that of the Judgment, meaning you have to make a call here. And because we have the King of Swords sandwiched between the Knight of Wands and the Tower, I don't think there's avoiding the truth coming to light. Okay, the Tower card is when you catch somebody in the act. Seven of Swords represents that deception, that dishonesty, that lack of clarity. Now, the Knight of Wands is kind of moving in the same direction as this Seven of Swords, kind of moving over here to the left, followed by the Moon card. And I'm kind of struck with this idea of somebody or something, some kind of commitment in your life where somebody's actually trying to back out. Now, it could be because there's another person involved. It could be because they don't want to be tied down. Now, this is really all about the Saturn-Uranus conjunction, square, is there's tension between making the commitment and our own personal freedom. And in some ways, if somebody is trying to get out of a situation, or if you catch somebody doing something or acting out, because we're dealing with this world card ending kind of vibe at the bottom of the deck next to the Tower, this was a very fated and karmic situation, and there was a lot of lessons that came to it. So it's really not just about like somebody being dishonest. It's really about doing the shadow work and understanding why you attracted this scenario in the first place. Now we have the King of Swords coming out twice, and underneath that we have prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. So Taurus, the thing is, we've got a lot of action with that North Node in Gemini in your second house. Now that comes out next to Gemini, I think. Gemini in the second house is going to make you address issues with your self-worth, your ability to attract things that are reciprocal, okay? Like real Six of Pentacles situations where you meet an equal partner. It's equal give and take. Both people want to do the same amount of work to make the relationship or the job or the working partnership to make it work. What I see here is probably the need to stand up for yourself, okay? So it's actually a blessing that the dishonesty gets exposed this month, most likely around the week when Chiron goes retrograde in your 12th house. When the secrets are revealed, you're going to be able to see things a little bit clearer. Now, if you look here, we've got the Moon, the Four of Cups, and the Three of Wands. And I kind of really love this because this opportunity brings you to confront your ego a little bit. Why did you want this to work out in the first place, right? Are you settling for somebody who's not bringing good enough to the table? Are you settling for relationships when you can't trust? And where does that hurt come from? Because Chiron wants you to do that work. When we have the World card pop up in any reading, and especially at the bottom of the deck, it is an indication that this is an opportunity to break a really big habit in your life. And maybe that habit is that of not valuing yourself or not understanding the values of another person clearly. Now, there is an opportunity or a chance here, Taurus, that you are the person that's kind of giving to two different scenarios. Might be like really in your head about how to proceed. Maybe there's a part of you that wants to be in a committed, stable, contractual agreement with something, and another part of you that really wants to stay free and to follow their intuition, to follow their instincts, and to be really open to opportunities. I get that. But the bottom line here is that we're confronting fear. We're confronting the need to say, hey, you know what? I need to be treated in this certain way. I need to be valued in this certain way. Or maybe the lesson is that if you expect a true partnership with somebody, then you have to proceed in these certain ways. And maybe it's somebody that has to explain to you that they can no longer participate in a relationship because their idea of commitment might be a little bit different than yours. Now, because we've got the Moon and the Four of Cups here, what happens next is kind of the icing on the cake, because you're going to do this healing. You're going to understand yourself better, and it kind of sparks this new love. Now, this could be something new coming in, catching your eye. It could be a new partner or a new relationship, or it could just be like a really cool new habit or setting goals for yourself, starting healthier habits. With this Four of Cups, the whole situation, you getting into this King of Swords, seeing the big picture, being able to detach or disassociate with things that don't treat you at your level, is a gift from the universe, because the quality things are going to start coming in. Now you have this Three of Wands, which is the idea of being in creation mode. And I always explain that Three of Wands is like creation mode, manifesting from the contrast. So that means you're in a scenario where you're really unhappy with the way that it turned out. Then you get to go back to the drawing board, and there's an opportunity to really improve your relationship with this dream. you could be a little bit more choosy. You could expect people to live up to your standards, right? The King of Swords doesn't settle. He has very high expectations. He doesn't make excuses for people. He doesn't, not the most compassionate and forgiving. If you hurt the King of Swords, he easily cuts you off because his energy, his time, his resources are so important to him. His energy is so important to him that he wouldn't waste it on a scenario that wasn't worth solid foundations. And I think that's what you're creating in yourself this month, which is a lot to say about the ascension process altogether. And underneath this Three of Wands, we've got this Queen of Wands. And I love this. I love this because once you heal from this, once you close this scenario out, and maybe this isn't something that happens this month, maybe because it's Chiron and because it's your 12th house, this could represent a past scenario that's kind of coming up and triggering you. It doesn't even necessarily have to be real with the Seven of Swords. It could just be a scenario that pops up or some kind of anxiety that pops up that you have to kind of put to rest. You want to be careful about how impulsive you are because the King of Swords is definitely not impulsive. And there's a little bit here. Now, when I go underneath the World card, I've got the Knight of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. For some of you, Taurus, there's a habit of wanting or needing to rescue people. You tend to find the wounded warriors and hope that you could fix them up, and therefore they're kind of devoted to you. And you, the Knight of Wands energy, could kind of feel like it serves your ego in a way. And I think that's kind of the unhealthy habits that we have. Probably not best to start a business or start a relationship with somebody who you feel you need to fix, right? Those are never, ever, ever the healthy relationships. Now, if you love somebody, you could certainly hold space for them. You could encourage them to do their own healing, but it's super important for us all to understand that a person can only love you as much as they love themselves. And for some people, they're stuck in a selfish or toxic kind of scenario in their lives because they don't truly love themselves. And there's really nothing that you could do to change that. Most likely it's a karmic scenario where you repeatedly get hurt in the process until suddenly you realize, I could do this completely differently. I could attract healthier people. I could attract more mature, higher quality relationships in my life. So it's a learning process. And this is an opportunity to kind of get on board with the way that you're going to start doing things going forward. I like the Queen of Wands here with the Three of Wands because there's so much confidence that comes from this. And this is really all about Leo season, which means getting into your heart, into your passion. Leo season in your 4th house is your emotional home. So there's an idea of like really defending yourself, defending your passions, not making excuses, not trying to save other people. This is about Taurus doing what Taurus loves, Taurus being comfortable to express himself, Taurus expressing his emotional needs and being very unapologetic about it. And the universe really loves when we get to that point, when we have that kind of courage to say, no, I demand better in my life, demand higher quality people and things. And I'm not going to settle for people that don't or can't make promises they can't keep. So underneath the World card here, we have the Oracle card, Many Masks, the Authentic Self, card number 38. And this is all about the ability to remove the masks. In some ways, most likely in this scenario, you did not feel like you could be you. You know, we've all been in those kinds of relationships where, you know, they work kind of, but you can't be yourself. You don't feel comfortable in your own skin. And when we do that, when we put the mask on, it's because we have that fear of vulnerability. We don't want anybody to see us in this particular way. We don't want anybody to see us hurt. We don't want anybody to see us insecure. But I don't think that you're willing to operate from that place anymore. And so it does indicate that there are certain people or scenarios in your life where the mask is being removed. Like the illusions are shattering. You're starting to see things with clarity for what they are. And because you're the King of Swords, it's really mature energy in what to do next. Now, this is where it got interesting. I got like this huge clump of oracle cards for you guys. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on each card, but it did kind of talk about this entire journey. So the first one was card number 5, goblins. And this is like the shadow side. This is our fears and insecurities, and they're the reasons why we settle, right? You could be dealing with like that unworthiness or undeserving or inability to receive. And so you get yourself into scenarios where there isn't equal give and take. You get yourself in situations where, because you don't believe deep down that you deserve it, you get lower quality relationships and people. And this is needing to do the shadow work and confront yourself about how you sabotage things. We got storm fields, number 9, and rock bottom, number 10. And this is kind of where the tower card kicks in. And the storm fields is what I'm talking about. If this does not resonate with you, if you are not suspecting that somebody is lying, cheating, you know, this isn't your reading. Because the storm fields represents the fact that you know, you're aware of it. And then we have rock bottom, which means it has to be dealt with. Okay, it can no longer be ignored. Things are going to come out that can't be ignored. You have to deal with them. But it's not just about dealing with them, it's about figuring out why they occurred in the first place. Now, this really coincides down here with the 3 of Wands and the Queen of Wands that we get at the end of your reading. We've got card number 34, the spark, card number 27, home, and card number 7, into the unknown. Now, this really tells the story of walking away from situations that do not serve you and finding the new spark. This was all so divinely guided. This was never supposed to work out. This was supposed to get you to raise your vibration and get on a new level, because then you start to really attract high quality things to you. And there's a spark. There's the idea that after loss and heartache, we always survive, right? We always move on. There's always something new. Anything that dies is reborn. And our idea and our relationship with love itself is reborn from a different and healthier place. Card number 27, representing home. And this is the new rebirth of you being in a place where you feel like you are comfortable in your own skin. This is probably a situation, an environment, a job, a relationship, even like a friendship that you turn to that helps you heal, that helps you learn how to value yourself. Because when you can get to that place, then, like I said, you attract much healthier scenarios. And then we have this card number 7, into the unknown. Now this, along with the world card, does indicate that clearly something is ending. The universe wants you to get brave enough, Judgment card, wants you to get brave enough to leave these old ways behind. Leave these types of relationships behind and move on to something much more healing. And prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus. When you complete this cycle, the world kind of really opens up to you. And it's all about you having faith in yourself and your worth and your value, understanding your value and what you bring to the table, and understanding that you attract partners and jobs and situations that match that. All right, Taurus, beautiful reading. I do hope you guys have a wonderful month of July. Get out and celebrate summer in the Northern Hemisphere. I will be back to do a pick card reading or something probably for the Aquarius full moon. Until then, I will see you for your August readings as well. Take care, guys. Lots of love. Bye.